lab gear to solve an equation. The lab gear is just a nice visual for you to be able to see what happens algebraically. The first thing we need to do is look at our mat and find our equation. When I look on the left-hand side, I see 2x, and then we have what's known as the minus area, which is this rectangular piece, and we have 3 constants within that. So that is represented with minus 3. So I'm going to write the equation along the side. So we have 2x minus 3 on the left-hand side of the equation. This bar represents, or line down the middle of the mat, is my equation, or my equal sign. And when I look at the right-hand side, I see an x and I see 5 constants. So we have x plus 5. Our goal in solving is to be able to isolate a variable on one side of the equation, or if you think about it, we need to get all of our x blocks on one side of the equation and all of our constant or yellow blocks on the other side of the equation. There are multiple ways to do this. I'm going to go use one method, challenge you maybe to see if you can find another one. Ultimately, we'll have the same solution. So I am going to isolate my variable and try and get my variables to the left-hand side. What I notice, I have an x on the right-hand side. I can take an x and add it into the minus zone. And when I have our minus area, when I have an x minus x, that is going to equal 0. We are dealing with an equation, so I'm also going to add an x box to the minus zone on the left-hand side. And when I do this, x minus x gives me 0, so we can remove those blocks. I also have an x minus x on the left-hand side. Algebraically, what we did is we added an x to the minus zone. That's the same thing as subtracting an x from both sides of the equation. And you notice with the blocks, what we have left over, combining just our like terms, our x values, we had 2 x's and we removed 1. That's left with 1 x, which you can see is here. My minus 3 is still present, equals, and again, I was also x minus x gave me 0, so all I'm left with is a constant 5. Now I'm going to move the minus 3. Again, I want to have the x by itself, and I want to create those 0 pairs. I know that if I take 1 minus 1, that would give me 0. So I'm going to continue that process until everything, or all of my constants, will equal 0. So 1 minus 1, 0. 1 minus 1, 0, and 1 minus 1. It's also 3 minus 3. I'm going to do the same thing to both sides. I added 3 blocks, and I can simplify again. I created 0 pairs. We basically did 3, we added 3 to the minus 3, and those blocks can be removed. On the left-hand side, all of the constants are positive, so I can count those. So algebraically, I added 3 yellow blocks to each side of the equation, which gives me x is equal to 8 as my solution to the equation 2x minus 3 is equal to x plus 5. X is going to equal 8.